My wife gave a speech at our anniversary party last night. By the end of it, I was looking up divorce attorneys on my phone. We just celebrated 23 years of marriage. I say celebrated loosely because what happened last night felt more like a public execution than a celebration. My name is Ethan. I am 46 years old, and I have been a senior accountant at the same logistics company for 22 years. I know that sounds boring. My wife Madison has made sure everyone in our lives knows exactly how boring she thinks it is. Madison is 45, and she has been building herself up as a lifestyle influencer for the past few years. She has got maybe 12,000 followers, mostly women her age who like her content about ambition and leveling up and refusing to settle. I have always supported her hobby, even when it started taking over our lives. I figured if it made her happy, what was the harm? We have 2 kids. Lily is 20, a college sophomore, smart and observant in ways that sometimes scare me. Cole is 16, a junior in high school, quieter than his sister but fiercely protective of the people he loves. They were both at the party last night. They both saw everything. Madison wanted to throw a big anniversary party at our house. 30 guests, maybe more. Family, co-workers, some of her influencer friends, neighbors. She planned the whole thing herself, and I just showed up where she told me to show up. That has been our dynamic for years. She plans, I fund. We both pretend that is partnership. Halfway through the party, Madison grabbed a microphone. She said she wanted to give a toast to 23 years of marriage. People gathered around with their drinks. Lily had her phone out to record. I stood there smiling like an idiot, expecting something sweet. Instead, I got a roast. She started by talking about how I have worked at the same company for 22 years. She said, most people climb the corporate ladder. Ethan found a comfortable rung and just hung there. People laughed nervously. I kept smiling because I didn't know what else to do. Then she talked about my routines. She said I have eaten the same lunch every Tuesday for 15 years. Turkey sandwich, apple, string cheese. She said, our vacations are so predictable, she could plan them with her eyes closed. Same beach, same hotel, same restaurant. Ethan doesn't like surprises. Ethan doesn't like change. Ethan doesn't like anything that isn't on a spreadsheet. The laughs got more uncomfortable. I saw Lily lower her phone. I saw Cole's jaw tighten. Then Madison went personal. She told everyone about a panic attack I had 3 years ago when our company went through restructuring and I thought I might lose my job. She told them I cried in the bathroom. She told them I needed her to talk me down for an hour. People stopped laughing. Some of them looked at their feet. She wasn't done. She made a joke about our intimacy being scheduled. She said I put it on the calendar like a dentist appointment. 7 p.m., Thursday, marital obligations. A few of her influencer friends laughed at that one. Nobody else did. Then came the line, I will never forget. If he doesn't level up soon, I am not wasting my 40s being married to a spreadsheet. She said it like a joke. She delivered it with a smile. But I saw the faces in the crowd. I saw my daughter's eyes fill with tears. I saw my son walk away toward the house. The party ended awkwardly after that. People made excuses and left early. Madison didn't seem to notice. She was already talking to one of her friends about posting the speech on TikTok. She said it would be great content. Cole confronted her in the kitchen. He said, that wasn't funny, Mom. That was cruel. Madison told him he was being dramatic. She said it was just jokes, that I knew she was joking, that I needed to lighten up. I didn't say anything. I grabbed a beer and went outside to clean up the yard. I picked up plastic cups and crumpled napkins while the woman I have been married to for 23 years planned how to monetize my humiliation. Later that night, after everyone was asleep, I sat in my home office staring at my computer. I opened an email I had saved from 6 months ago. A job offer from a company in another state, better title, better pay, fully remote. I had turned it down because Madison didn't want to move and I didn't want to rock the boat. I had spent my whole marriage not rocking the boat. Then I opened our financial files, bank accounts, retirement funds, the college savings I had been building for years. I looked at the numbers the way I look at everything, methodically, carefully. 23 years of stability. 23 years of doing the right thing. 23 years of being mocked for it. Then I opened a new browser tab and typed 5 words. I never thought I would type divorce attorney near me. Maybe Madison is right. Maybe I am predictable. Maybe I have been hanging on the same rung for too long. Maybe I have been so focused on keeping everything stable that I forgot to ask myself if any of it was making me happy. But maybe it is time to submit a resignation from my job and from this marriage update. I want to start by thanking everyone who commented on my original post. I wasn't expecting that kind of response. A lot of you told me the speech wasn't just jokes. It was public humiliation. A lot of you told me I deserved better. I have spent the last 2 weeks really looking at my marriage, and what I found was worse than I expected. The roast at the anniversary party wasn't new. It was just the first time she did it in public. 3 days after the party, Lily asked to talk to me privately. She looked nervous, like she had been debating whether to show me something. She said, "Dad, I need you to see this." "I am sorry." She handed me her phone. She had taken screenshots from Madison's private social media, her close friends' Instagram stories, her private Facebook group for her influencer circle. Madison has been posting about me for years. Not the supportive wife content she shows publicly, the private stuff, the stuff she shares with her real audience. There were posts mocking my work clothes, posts making fun of my hobbies, screenshots of text conversations where she complained about how boring I am. She shared a meme about deadweight husbands and wrote, "Tag yourself." I am the wife wondering where her life went wrong. One post from 8 months ago said, 22 years at the same company, no ambition, no drive. Just a paycheck and a pension. I married my father and I hate myself for it. I sat there scrolling through years of contempt, years of her using me as content, years of her laughing about me with strangers while I thought we were partners. Then Lily showed me the messages with Trent. Trent Cole is 42 years old. He owns a chain of gyms and does motivational speaking on the side. He is all over Madison's private posts, comments full of fire emojis and phrases like "you deserve better" and "never stop leveling up, queen." Their DMs go back almost a year. Madison messaged him things like, "I feel so stuck. Ethan doesn't understand ambition. And, sometimes, I wonder what my life would look like if I had married someone who actually wanted to grow." I don't know if it is a full affair. The messages I saw were emotional, not physical. But does it matter? She has been building intimacy with another man while tearing me down to everyone who would listen. The next day, I went to see a divorce lawyer. I sat in his office for 2 hours going through everything. The house, which is partially tied to money I inherited from my parents, the retirement accounts, the college funds. He told me I had options. He told me to freeze joint credit cards, separate my direct deposits, and document everything Madison had posted about me online. I asked him if her social media behavior would matter in court. He said emotional abuse is hard to prove, but a pattern of public humiliation combined with financial irresponsibility could absolutely influence a settlement. That night, I tried to talk to Madison. I told her the speech had hurt me. I told her I had seen some of her private posts. I asked her why she had been talking about me like that to strangers. She rolled her eyes. She said, "Those posts are my safe space. Ethan, I am allowed to vent. You are being way too sensitive about this." I said, I didn't think it was venting. I thought it was contempt. I thought she had been building a case against me for years, without ever telling me she was unhappy. She said, "Maybe if you had shown any interest in growing as a person, I wouldn't have needed to vent." I asked her about Trent. Her face changed for just a second before she recovered. She said he was just a friend, a mentor, someone who understood ambition. Then she said something that stopped me cold. She said, "You know what, Ethan? I actually talked to a lawyer last year. I thought about ending this, but I stayed for the kids. So maybe you should be grateful I am still here instead of acting like I am the villain." She had already consulted a divorce attorney. A year ago, she had been 1 foot out the door this whole time, and I had been oblivious, thinking we were just in a rough patch. All those nights I thought we were working through something. She had already made her decision. She just hadn't pulled the trigger yet. I didn't say anything else that night. I went to my office and I accepted the job offer I had been sitting on for 6 months. New position, better pay, remote work. I can do it from anywhere. I don't need to stay in this house. I don't need to stay in this marriage. Then I scheduled another meeting with my lawyer to finalize everything. Madison has spent years telling me I am predictable, that I never take risks, that I am afraid of change. She is about to find out she was wrong. Update 2: Madison finally made her big move last week. She asked me to invest in Trent's business. She sat me down after dinner with this whole presentation. Trent is expanding his gym chain and offering franchise opportunities. He also has some kind of executive coaching program for entrepreneurs. Madison wanted us to put $50,000 into one or both. She framed it as a growth opportunity. For us, for our marriage. She said this could be the thing that finally brings us together, that shows I am willing to take risks and level up. She said Trent had shown her the projections and the returns were incredible. I told her I would think about it. I asked to see the financials. Her face lit up. She thought she would finally gotten through to me. She hugged me and said, "I knew you had it in you. This is going to change everything." She was right about one thing. It did change everything. I spent the next week using every professional contact I have. 22 years in accounting and logistics means I know people who know people. I ran background checks. I pulled public records. I made some calls. What I found was damning. Trent has 3 tax liens against him totaling over $200,000. He is being sued by 2 former business partners for breach of contract. His gym chain is hemorrhaging money. The locations that are still open are barely covering rent. His coaching program has a dozen complaints filed with the Better Business Bureau. The man my wife wanted me to give $50,000 to is a financial disaster pretending to be a success story. I printed everything. Every lien, every lawsuit, every complaint. I put it in a folder and I waited. The following Sunday, Madison called a family dinner. She wanted to pitch the investment to the kids, get everyone excited about the family, leveling up together. Lily came home from college for it. Cole sat at the table looking like he would rather be anywhere else. Madison started her pitch. She talked about Trent's vision, the franchise opportunity, the coaching program. She said this was our chance to stop playing it safe and start building real wealth. Cole interrupted her. He said, "Mom, you don't like Dad. You just like his paycheck. That is what this is really about, isn't it?" Madison's face went red. She said that was incredibly disrespectful, and she expected an apology. Madison looked at me expecting backup. I didn't give it. Instead, I opened the folder. I spread the documents across the dinner table. The tax liens, the lawsuits, the BBB complaints, the financial statements showing Trent's gyms were bleeding money. I said, "This is who you wanted me to give $50,000 to. This is the mentor who was going to help us level up." Madison stared at the papers. Her face cycled through shock, then anger, then something that looked almost like fear. She said, "You went behind my back. You investigated him." I said, "I did my due diligence. The same thing I have been doing for 22 years that you think is so boring. The same thing that has kept this family financially stable while you have been chasing content." She accused me of sabotaging her dreams. She said I was threatened by Trent because he represented everything I wasn't: ambitious, bold, willing to take risks. I told her I wasn't threatened. I was protecting our family from a con artist and his biggest fan. She stormed out of the house. She said she needed space to think. She went to meet her influencer friends at some cafe downtown to film content and process her emotions publicly. What she didn't know was that I had already filed for divorce. The papers had been ready for a week. I had just been waiting for the right moment. I made a phone call. 2 hours later, while Madison was sitting at a cafe table filming a vlog about toxic relationships and unsupportive partners, a process server walked up to her table. He handed her an envelope. He said her name clearly enough for the microphone to pick up. Madison opened the envelope on camera. Her face went white. Her influencer friends stared. The recording kept rolling. She wanted bold moves. She wanted someone who wasn't afraid of change. I finally gave her what she asked for. Final update: the divorce was finalized 3 months ago. I am writing this update because a lot of people asked how things turned out, and because I finally feel like I can talk about it without the anger overwhelming everything else. Madison tried to control the narrative online. The day after she got served, she posted a tearful video calling my actions a midlife crisis. She said I had blindsided her, that I was having some kind of breakdown, that she was the victim of a man who couldn't handle a strong woman pushing him to be better. It didn't work the way she hoped. Guests from the anniversary party started commenting with their own accounts of what they had witnessed. Someone leaked the roast video. Her private posts about me started circulating. The same audience she had built by mocking me turned on her when they realized she had been the villain all along. My lawyer used everything: the roast video, the private posts, the pattern of emotional belittling that stretched back years. The judge wasn't impressed with Madison's claims that it was all just jokes. The settlement was fair. I kept the house because of my inheritance contribution. Alimony was limited because Madison had been building her own income through her influencer work. The kids' college trusts were protected, which was my main concern. Madison moved into a small apartment across town. She works part-time now as a freelance social media manager for local businesses. Her influencer career collapsed. It turns out people don't want to follow someone whose entire brand was built on contempt for her own husband. Trent's Gyms went under about 2 months after the divorce was filed. He declared bankruptcy and disappeared from social media entirely. Madison told Lily that he stopped returning her messages around the same time. The mentor who was going to help her level up ghosted her the moment she stopped being useful. I heard through Cole that Madison tried dating again. It didn't go well. Apparently men aren't eager to commit to someone whose public history includes years of trashing her ex-husband for content. Who could have predicted that? My life is quieter now. I took the new job and I work remotely from the house. Less stress, better pay, more time for the things that actually matter. I started woodworking in the garage. I go hiking on weekends. I learned to cook things that aren't turkey sandwiches. He is doing well in school, thinking about engineering programs for college. Lily set firm boundaries with her mother. She visits Madison occasionally, but she has made it clear she will not tolerate any more manipulation or guilt trips. About 6 months after the divorce, I met someone. Her name is Nora. She is 42, runs a small bookstore downtown, and she has this way of making silence feel comfortable instead of awkward. We met at a community event Lily dragged me to. We talked for 2 hours about books and woodworking and the strange relief of starting over in your 40s. Nora doesn't think my routines are boring. She thinks they are peaceful. She doesn't see my stability as a character flaw. She sees it as something rare and valuable. Our relationship is slow and quiet, and nothing like the chaos I lived with for 23 years. I ran into Madison a few weeks ago at the grocery store. She looked tired, not defeated exactly, but humbled in a way I had never seen before. The confident influencer energy was gone. She was just a woman buying groceries alone on a Tuesday afternoon. She saw me and hesitated, then walked over. She said it was good to see me. I said the same thing because I didn't know what else to say. Then she asked, "Do you ever think we could have fixed it?" If I had handled things differently? I thought about it for a moment. I said, "The speech didn't break us, Madison. It just revealed what had been broken for years." She nodded slowly. Then she asked, "Was I really that awful?" I could have said yes. I could have listed every cruel thing she had ever said or done. But standing there in the cereal aisle, I realized I didn't want to anymore. The anger had faded. What was left was something closer to pity. I said, "You weren't awful. You were just unhappy. And you needed someone to blame for that unhappiness." I finally stopped volunteering to be that person. She didn't say anything else. She just nodded again and walked away. I drove home, and Nora was there making dinner. Cole was doing homework at the kitchen table. The house was warm and quiet, and exactly the kind of boring that Madison always hated. No drama, no content, no audience. Just life happening the way it is supposed to. For the first time in decades, I felt peaceful. Not happy in some dramatic way, just calm, content, present. The kind of peace you don't realize you have been missing until you finally have it back. Madison spent years telling me I needed to level up. She said I was too predictable, too risk-averse, too afraid of change. But walking away from a 23-year marriage took more courage than anything she ever did. Filing those papers, protecting my kids, rebuilding my life from scratch. That wasn't boring. That wasn't playing it safe. For someone who never took risks, leaving was the bravest thing I have ever done. Walking away from everything I knew, everything I had built, everything I thought my life was supposed to be. Turns out boring. Men only look boring until they decide they are done.